Okay, so hey everyone, I am Salma Alrowaie.
I am Huaxuan Chen.
And I'm Olivia Cohn.
And we are joined today by the wonderful Dr. Kumar and Jyotsna Ravikumar. They are living proof that men and women can collaborate and leave a positive impact on society. So on behalf of the Girls in Science International Platform, I would like to welcome you both and thank you for joining us today. Would you tell us about yourself and how you became partners?
So Kumar and I joined together about 13 years ago when we started a small think tank called Ergo Engineers. We were doing our engineering back then, and we were interested in creating innovative solutions that would benefit the society. So with that impact together, we started Ergo Engineers, and we began to roll out solutions which were applications of what we were learning as part of our engineering. So one of the first things that we rolled out was an infrared-based navigation system for visually challenged people, which was very similar to the echolocation that bats use to communicate. So that was one of our first innovative solutions that we used.
Yeah, we are into multiple ventures, and we started experimenting on automobile and artificial intelligence, prosthetics, and we won several awards for recognition from Indian government and the local state government, and started implementing our solutions to the common people. And one good example is we developed a prosthetic arm, artificial limb for the physically challenged people, and we found four basic action, and it solves the problem for the physically challenged people. And for that, we won an award from Science and Technology Minister in India, and we started implementing through our institutions to many places. And after that, and we thought the next big challenge is the entire globe is mosquitoes. So we started doing research on mosquitoes. We started understanding how mosquitoes identify the human beings, and through the sensors, and they are able to mm, locate the human beings. And we started mimicking the same mechanism to chemically blind the mosquitoes and then trap them. And yeah, we successfully launched that 8 years back, and it's there in the market, and we're really happy to see that solution working in the society.
Oh, that's amazing. Those are all different, innovative, and honestly amazing projects. So it's not very often that we see professionals establish organizations with students, especially in India. So can you tell us about how Abo Engineers was born and how you brought in the students to work with you?
Yes. We started Ergo Engineers in the year 2007. So that consists of 8 team members who were all pursuing engineering at that time and one medical student. And so we split up whatever projects we had in hand with we picked the modules according to the branch that we were working on. So I was from IT and Kumar from mechanical engineering. We had to move from electronics and one medical student. So we would pick the modules that we were comfortable in and split it and then integrate it all together and provide the solution. One interesting project that we worked on and we received a lot of accolades was one called Talon. Talon is the claw of an eagle. So in India, we still have a lot of problems about open borewell holes. So there were a lot of children who fell into these borewell holes and got stuck in. The government was taking large efforts to rescue these children. So we made a prototype of a rescue device which was shaped like a talon, which would be able to go into the hole, pick up the child, and bring the child back from the borewell hole without any digging of any other external hole.
Oh, that's great.
After we started getting a little more recognition, there was a lot more of interest, to be honest.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, Huaxuan?
So I know that ELBA is made of students with different areas of expertise. So this may make the team dynamic very different. So how do you choose the next problem that you want to tackle, take into consideration of everyone's experiences and skills and ideas? And how are disagreements resolved?
Of problems that we chose were problems that are visible within plain sight and can be solved with a simple solution. And if you notice, most of these solutions that we provided were inspired from animal designs. Like I said about the talon and the eagle's claw, because we had been watching how eagles catch prey from very even from deep holes, and it happened in a fraction of a second. So from a young age, we were very interested in animals. In fact, my hero as I was growing up was Steve Irwin, and I cried for days on end when he died. Yeah, the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin. So yeah, so a lot of our designs were biomimic, to be exact. So that's to answer your first question. And secondly, we would have a discussion at first throughout the ideas, and we would have a brainstorming session and see if it was feasible. And if we all came together, then we would make the solution happen. And more often, the impact outweighed all the other problems. And whenever we had we would always talk about what we would be able to achieve with this solution. And that was our first priority. And even if we had to learn things along the way, use things that we didn't know, we still had a lot of mentors. We had a lot of support from our faculty, and we did learn along the way. So we had a very good supportive team, I'd say.
And also, I mean, you rightly asked me, since we have the various disciplines in our team, we're able to bring affordable solutions to the common man's problem. So we had in our team we had medical students, we had engineering background, economics, psychology, and different backgrounds help us to develop a proper product to a common man's problem. So, as you rightly said, I mean that helped us create a right solution to the perfect problem.
That's really amazing how you always took the next step forward.
Thank you.
Well, I know that you hold 4 patents that aim to solve different problems that society faces, and I was wondering what inspired you to create and think of each one of them.
The inspiration behind each one of the solution is we personally faced all these challenges to our friends or directly to us, and we're trying to understand what caused this problem, what is the root cause. And especially when I talk about the mosquito problem, every one of us in India, in southern part of India, we face any one of the disease caused by mosquitoes like dengue or chikungunya or malaria. So we thought, I mean, why this happens? I mean, what is the root cause? The female mosquitoes are the one causes this diseases because they need protein to nurture their young ones. So we are the protein-rich people, animals. So they want blood from us, and that's why they coming to us and taking the blood. So we started collecting all these different types of eggs, so mosquitoes, and we started doing research, and we understand, and this is the root cause, and we try to not only repel them, we kill them, because if you kill one mosquito, it is equivalent of killing 3,000 mosquitoes, because one female mosquito can lay up to 3,000 eggs in the 10 deliveries. So we try to give a permanent solution to the environment. So we started doing that, and at the same time, and each and every problem we address, we go to the root cause and we eradicate the root cause of it.
Thank you.
Mm.
Many kids around the world, such as I am, are passionate about solving the world's most pressing issues. What advice do you have for them in order to turn their dreams into a reality?
First of all, it's so heartening to hear something like that from such a young child. I'm very happy to hear that, Lily. So,
we generally, what we do is like we sit and write questions. Whenever we come across any challenge or any problem, we started writing questions, to understand the problem better. So we used to tell each other saying that we should not take out our pen from the paper. At least we need to write 100 questions. When we start writing that 100 questions, we are able to figure out, are we seriously intent to solve it, or we are just asking the basic questions. After 30 questions, we are able to figure out what exactly is the problem and how to solve it. We are able to find out the key. So I would say any children, like maybe like 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 50-year-old, everybody, I can say that, if you start writing a question, we can figure out what is the real cause, what is the problem. Then we can pick from out of the 100 questions, we can pick the 10 questions and we can start giving the solution for it. And we can find the theme and the right path for it. So that's how we work, and we are able to successfully bring solutions for all these problems.
I'd like to add to that. So one of the ways we approach a very serious problem is that we tend to look at it from another point of view, another perspective. So in a matter of speaking, as humans, we tend to change the environment in order to suit our needs, whereas animals have gone through a series of evolution and changed themselves in order to suit the environment. So we'd like to research and find out how animals have developed their defense mechanisms, their evolutionary traits in order to be able to survive better. Because if we are facing a problem today, animals have also faced and they've undergone a series of evolutionary traits and to overcome that problem. So that was one way that we looked at a lot of our problems. Like I said, biomimicry was one of our inspiration points. So the pressing problem that we are working on currently is water shortage. So that was also inspired by a beetle that lives in Africa, so which is capable of harvesting water from. So our company Aero, we are also producing atmospheric water generators whose design is inspired by such beetles.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to think of problems and to come up with innovative solutions, as you've said. So as a result, you've talked about water shortage. So how was Aeronero born? And could you tell us about the initiative and how your solution differs from other solutions?
We both lived in US, and when we are doing, I was doing my PhD. Um, we we faced a challenge. We had a solution challenge in front of us, that is pH modifier. So one of the company wants a water pH modifier. We started doing research on water pH modifiers. That's when we realized we waste a lot of water for that process. And in the same time, in 2015 in Chennai, we had a flood, and there was water everywhere, but not even a single drop to drink because it's contaminated, it's highly polluted. So we thought, how do we solve this issue? Then we figure out like, what are the nature has a solution for every problem. So as Jyotsna said, she started writing all these questions, and she said, why don't we approach the nature solutions like cactus or the desert beetle or a lot of other features which tap water from the atmosphere. So we recreated the architecture in the cactus, because cactus draw water from the atmosphere through fronds. So we created the architecture, and then we started producing water. But it was very little amount. So what we thought is that we have to enhance this um, uh, throughput. So we add a couple of more technologies, and we started building this technology. Then we went back to India and we presented to our professors in to our institution. That's when it all started, and we pitched it to IA in Kolkata, and from there, that's when we can share the journey.
So we presented it at IIM Calcutta, and they presented us with an award, Tata Social Enterprise Challenge, which is 2018. We won the first place there because of the social impact that this device was capable of providing. And we then merged with Aeronevo, and we're working with Durga Das, and we are now also working with Her Royal Highness Dr. Princess Nasreen with our initiative called Jansu. which is, and we are committed to providing water for women all across the globe. And our aim through this initiative is that women never have to walk for water again. We believe that water should be brought to women, and that they will, and not the other way around.
Great. And I think this is a really great idea, like harnessing pure drinking water from air. I think it's an amazing development. And I was just curious as to like where you see the company going in the future in terms of future developments.
In terms of future development, as we speak, we tap water from the atmosphere. As a byproduct, we produce clean air into the atmosphere. Because when we suck the air, it has a lot of particulate matter. Because of that, there is a huge problem in the rainfall. Because whatever the sun does, it evaporates and takes all the moisture away. And because of the pollution, in 1 cubic meter of air, initially it was like 300 micrograms per cubic meter. Now it becomes 2000 micrograms per cubic meter. So this huge transition happens in this particulate matter that brings down our rainfall in a lot of tropical region and especially in the equatorial part. So that affects our agriculture, that affects our livelihood in so many ways. So when we take air from the atmosphere, we not only produce water, we also produce clean air into the atmosphere, back into the atmosphere. We collect all the particulate matter and we store it and then we clean it and then again it goes back. So the next future is like we're also giving clean air to the atmosphere, and also we are trying to add along with the device we add a data. That's when Jyotsna played a huge role in that. We can talk about the African how we add data to it.
Yeah, so IoT is also an important part of the. So we get to have remote sensing. That is, we are able to control our devices from even if it's placed in a remote location. So we get to know the water quality reports and how frequently the filters have been changed, or if there's excess pollution in the area, or if the water quality is being changed because of tampering or sabotage, or any leaks, or even in case of any short circuits. So such situations like these are alerted to us immediately, and we're able to take precautionary measures even before the problem even hits. Sometimes even the customers are not aware that the problem is looming, but our systems alert us prior, and we're able to avoid such problems.
Because people in need of water, they can access the data especially in Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know about how far some women have to walk in Africa to get water. Sometimes they walk for 6-7 hours a day. Through our technology, we hope that we will be able to inform our users that we don't have to walk very far, and we will be able to. They will be notified of how far our machines are located. So they will have to walk less than 1 or 2 kilometers. We hope that there will be at least one atmospheric water generator for every 2 kilometers, where women don't have to walk long distances ever.
Yeah, that's very inspiring and that's super amazing. And now I guess like moving towards more like innovation and research questions. So I think we do not hear about like Indian or South Asian research as often we hear about research from the West. So why do you think that is and how can we combat this? Because I think this is an amazing idea that more people should learn more about.
Research is still an upcoming field over here. Since we are still there's a bit of patriarchy that still lies over here, but of course we've come a long way compared to what our mothers and grandmothers faced today. What the situation that we're facing is far better. And there is a lot of misconception about research on the whole. A lot of people believe that research is only for people who are extremely focused and about a particular subject. So research is all about creativity, analytical thinking, focus, and a lot of perseverance. So I believe a lot of people are now coming into research even in India and in Southeast Asia and across all the other continents as well. You can see the more number of patents are coming up last decade, especially. A lot of patents have been filed from our continent. And
As she said, we are very curious about everything. Like everything happens around us, we have to be very curious to understand. that's the seed for research. When you're more curious, you tend to learn so many stuff. You go into deep and learn the basic stuff very, very clear, and you can give a better solution. And as Jyotsna said, this is what happens with existing environment, the ecosystem across the globe. It happens really fast, and a lot of people are moving into the research side and doing some innovation and doing patents. And of course, in India, particularly, if you want to talk about um, a lot of hubs have been created in the recent past. Even for us, a lot of Indian institutions gave an incubation in the early stage, and they supported us in terms of funding, and also given connects to right people to pitch our ideas, how to take it forward from idea to go to market strategy, and how to reach mass crowd. And that happens in a very good pace in India in recent times. So in that way, I'm really happy that we are in the right path to give better solutions to the entire.
Yeah, I really. Oops, sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. So I'm glad that you got the funding and the support that you needed to develop your projects. So I was wondering, what are the obstacles that you faced as scientists?
Well, one of the problems that we face, first of all, is that our education system is designed for us to learn, pass the exams, and then just equip ourselves with enough skills to get a job and and to work consistently at a job. So we don't have that many opportunities or exposure to what research can do for us. So that's where these institutions come in. And like I said, in the last decade, there has been a lot more involvement from institutions. There have been so many incubation centers being started up, and a lot more number of grants given by the government as well as such institutions to startups. In fact, there is a lot of support being given to student startups now. So that's the reason we see a lot of beautifully growing startups, very successful startups right now in the last one decade. So one of the obstacles that we faced was hesitation, lack of funds, and
And of course, in the early stage, um, people are not coming from the right institution. They're going approaching some private people. They don't have a proper track. But now it's open. After the internet revolution happened, now people are open to all the resources which are available in the internet. Now they are able to access. But when we started in 2007, even though the internet was there, a lot of people face challenges because they're not able to approach the right people and right funding and right mentoring. That becomes a huge challenge. And apart from this, the centers for doing research. As we discussed, when we started our research, we put our own money to do some basic stuff to understand. Even in the institution, there are a lot of equipments that are lacking. So we were waiting for those equipments to perform certain experiments. Then we started creating even those instruments and started doing these experiments. And now, in 2020, but those challenges are not been faced by our fellow researchers because we have right equipments and right infrastructure to support that. But still, I would say this is not served to the entire nation. It's served only the people who live in the city, not in the towns or village or in the rural sites.
Thank you so much. And I love how you talk about partnerships because I feel like having partnerships and having people support you, especially with funding or finding connecting you to the right people is very important for scientists. And I really like that you emphasize that because I think like teamwork and collaboration is like very important for like budding scientists as well. So I guess another question I had is unfortunately COVID has negatively impacted most aspects of our daily lives. So how did this like global pandemic, like what effects did this have on the environment and how has it worsened the shortage of drinking water, making this technology even more important at a time like now?
Um, yeah. So during this COVID time, what happened is when we say we um, tap water from the atmosphere, everybody had the stigma in their mind saying when you tap water from the atmosphere. How pure, how hygiene is that? Are you carrying any virus or bacteria along with your water? So that becomes a huge challenge when we approach the market. And in terms of finance, in terms of logistics, we faced huge challenge the COVID time. But we started explaining, we started giving awareness to the people, like how we eliminate the medium, because COVID-19, the virus needs a medium to transmit to any any living creature. So we destroy that medium using our device. Because in our device, we have a system called photocatalytic reaction. What happens is when UV light falls onto our KO2 coated surface, it consumes all the bacteria and fungi load in the air, by which we eliminate the medium present across any object. So the virus cannot transmit from one medium to another. So that's how we propagated, and then we were very successful in that, and we started establishing into a lot of hospitals, police stations. We help a lot of people who stand on the road and support the public. So we give them a water. We put the machine next to them and then we give them, because there is no shop and no restaurants were available for the public servants. So we started giving water to them. We started giving the teas, the juices by producing water from the atmosphere. So that's how we contributed to the our heroes in our local.
Well, aside from the dark period, which is the global pandemic, I was wondering about your favorite cuisines, since I love food myself. What are your favorite dishes and cuisines?
I love to bake, so I love brownies, and that's universal. And we also love Chinese, but I'm vegetarian, so my options are limited. But we still love to eat Chinese, and we still have Indian Chinese here. We have hot pot and steamed vegetables.
Mm.
Wow, I love hot pot.
Yeah. I love,
And
as she said, I try a lot of seafood. I love seafood, especially shrimps and then fish. I love it.
Olivia, you have the next question.
Oh, thank you. I always like asking this question because there's no real right answer and everyone has a different opinion. So I was wondering what you think the world will look like in about 10 years.
Into the language.
yeah, which angle do you want us to answer, Olivia,
I'm not really sure, like in general.
in general?
You think things will be better or worse? Like
Oh,
how we're
yes.
gonna be as a civilization?
If I talk about women and their involvement in science and their exposure to science, I would say definitely for the better. In the next 10 years, I would see a lot of more involvement for women because in the recent times, we've been seeing a lot of change. A lot of institutions are now prioritizing gender diversity and making gender balanced events a priority now. And I believe that also shapes the way we think. More women are more forthcoming with their ideas, and now there is a platform for them to come out. So I think in that direction we're definitely moving forward. Like I said, our situation today is much better than the ones that my mother or our grandmothers lived in. So definitely in the next at least 20 years, I would say there would be a very balanced gender ratio everywhere. And there would be no necessity to call out women as a group because we would all just be human beings. And I believe that's where we would reach.
And I guess another question I had was, in addition to being really passionate about water and like social impact, I was just curious what other interests and passions or maybe hobbies that you have.
Hobbies, that she likes cooking, I love eating, so that's a basic what we do. But apart from this, we We do a lot of projects like we help people, we teach them. We love teaching people, so we volunteer ourselves and then we go to a lot of government schools to help people. We teach them with the basic science, with the practical equipment, and that's most of the time we do that. And apart from this, we love playing, carom board. So we play that, and
and we love reading science fiction. Douglas Adams is our favorite. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is like our all-time favorite. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but yeah, so Douglas Adams is one of our favorites. And I also whistle. I love to whistle more than singing.
and yeah, I love talking to people, like spending a lot of time understanding them, and yeah, I mean that's the most of the time we do, like we understand people and talk to them. I would say, I mean, that's a part of life. I mean, we never felt it's a hobby or something, but we love music. I mean, she sings really well, and I mean, to impress her, I learned some part of guitar, and then trying to impress her. So that's what we do.
Thank you so much. We are on the last question, and I would like to ask you, what message, if you want to share with the world, what do you want everyone to know that you think is extremely important, like in your heart?
From the bottom of my heart, we have to preserve forest. We have to safeguard. We need that poaching. We have to. In more than planting the trees, I would say people doing deforestation in a much rapid speed in nowadays, I mean, like that has to be stopped for the benefit of commercial goods. So I want to preserve forests for that, because in terms by preserving forests, you can preserve all the species in the world. You can preserve all the creatures. So that's my passion. That's my goal for my life.
I would say my request is that everyone use the available water judiciously, because the water drops save, there's a water drop on getting from the atmosphere is a second matter, but I would like to preserve the water that's already there underneath the ground, and also to share whatever water resources we have with our animal friends, because we always talk about water supply for us, but I don't think there is enough water for the animals that are outside. So my request is to share the water resources with our animal friends.
That's great. And I love your perspective on the environment because people usually neglect the environment for the sake of serving humanity, which I think uh, isn't the right approach. So we have two questions from the audience. The first one that was sent to me says that what's the biggest thing that you've learned from each other throughout your journey?
What we've learned from each other is that we complement each other. Uh, I would say neither of us is dominating. Uh, we just see when we look at the task that is at hand, we see who is the expert in that matter, and let that person take the lead. So that's how we work together, not just us. That's how we work with whoever we work with. Whoever is in our team, that's how we work. Whoever is the lead in that task, they take the lead forward, and there's no question of a leader, and there's no question of submission over there. So that's
And the
something.
biggest plus, I would say, we both have a different perspective towards any solution, or any problem, or any task, or any event. So that really helped us in um, motivated and then solve the issue much faster. So that's the biggest plus we have. As she said, we complement each other in a different dimensions. So it's a greatest gift.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's lovely. And the other question is if you have any tips on collaborating with people on innovative projects.
Yeah. First thing is I would say don't ever be hesitant about sharing your innovative ideas because the first step is to share. There are a lot of people who say uh, who are worried about plagiarism even before things are even started. But I would say for us in our case, we tried a lot of ideas and although we were able to succeed because we were able to speak, because we were novices and we didn't know much. But we spoke to mentors, we spoke to a lot of experienced people who gave us very insightful advice. And that's how we were able to bring our ideas into reality. The first thing I would say is identify the right people and share, 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 share. Keep talking about your ideas, and you will get insightful advice to make your ideas um, manifest.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
And to add to that, I will say one more thing. There's this saying which says, plans are useless, but planning is priceless. So, when you do certain tasks, the skills that you acquire along the way, the interpersonal skills, the communication skills, creativity, the analytical thinking skills, problem solving skills, these skills that you acquire along the way, those are priceless. Even if the task that you're doing at hand doesn't work out the way you expect it to be, it will work out for something else. So what you acquire as you plan is what really matters than the plan itself. So I would say just keep trying and be perseverant, and perseverance is the key.
Yeah, that's amazing advice for any endeavor that we go on. So I'd like to thank you both for joining us today and sharing your pieces of advice and your wisdom with us all. And we hope to maybe talk to you later in the future.
Yes, thank you for
Yeah,
giving us this opportunity. We'd love to talk to young minds, such as yourself, and you gave us some great questions. Um,
I love those questions. Yeah,
yeah,
thank you. Thank you
so
for
Thank you very much.
Vivi,
yeah,
Bye
thanks a
bye.
lot.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Thank
bye.
you.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Thank you.